Joining me now in our Lagos studio to discuss this and much more, I have agribusiness strategist, African farmer Mortgagee. Good to have you on the Breakfast Show today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let's start first and foremost with our local production base and then the demand. We have a demand of well over between 7 to 10 million metric tons per annum, and Nigeria can barely produce half of that. So we have a deficit which almost matches our production capacity thereabout. This has been the part that we've seen over the past few years, but other reports also say annually we see the increase in demand for rice growing by 1.2%. That's even a conservative approach. So now that we see the influx of foreign rice in the market once again, the prices of rice has dropped. It brings competition in the market, but the local processors are saying we cannot sustain this. We will not accept this. Government must intervene. Your thoughts on the reopening of the border and all of these?
Well, to balance the conversation, the local processors have not taken advantage of the market. And what do I mean by that? So when rice was banned or restricted was from coming in, instead of them working at the barest minimum to ensure profitability and sustainability, they took advantage of the consumers by increasing the price because they found out there was high demand, low supply, and so they took advantage of the consumers. And so when the borders was opened, the rice that began to come in, and by the way, this rice has been in the country, really.
They were just being hoarded?
Not ordered. You know, the demand for foreign rice has been there, and foreign rice is everywhere, everywhere.
No, but now you see it much more than
it's just been released, and this is the real scenario. The scenario is you have the things in the warehouses. It had been imported, but they were leveraging on high demand, low supply, releasing it in batches. Now that they opened the border, they have to sell off so that if it's coming in now, you know, they will not be at a loss. That's really what has caused the price to come down. It's not a function of bringing more rice coming in. It's fear factor that if the smugglers take advantage and bring more now, what happens to them? They lose. So they have to just offload. And that's what's happening. Any other thing, it's assumptions.
The federal government has tried its own bid to ensure that we have increased local production in Nigeria and also banned forex for the importation of certain food items, including rice as well. But now at this point in time, how do we improve on competitive pricing when we have this stiff competition? And at the end of the day, how as well do you expect us to nip in the bud all these porous border issues and the implications they have for smuggling?
So, you know, smuggling we've not been able to handle in the last 12 years.
Quite disappointing.
Quite disappointing. And so I wouldn't want us to focus on that aspect because we have no control. It is government that can resolve that. However, the most crucial missing link that anchors the sustainability is data. Do we have data of all rice producers in every state? Do we have data of what is milled in every local government? This data can be gotten, and some states have it. In fact, some departments in the federal have it. Are they using it? Because if you don't use that data, you cannot plan. So, and also, we're still focusing on production, farmer. We should focus on consumer. What does the consumer want? Do they even want the type of rice we are growing? That needs to be answered. So even if foreign rice is higher than local rice, because people are already 20, 30 years of used to 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you now bring rice that, you know, people are still patriotic because they don't have a choice. Let recession go. We'll go back to the imported rice.
The nutritional value of our local rice is definitely a competitive edge, but like you made mention of, we also have to look at polish and refining the quality we have on ground now. This calls for questions around research as well. We've not necessarily put our best foot forward in terms of research, knowing what sort of the variety of rice and the performance in the market, what's the sustainability of this in terms of the growth prospects, disease control and pest, and a whole lot more. But now, when you look at what happens in advanced climes, for example, technology transfer, you have people from a country move to another just to study and learn what's the processing and all of that. We've not done that in terms of rice production. We import rice from Thailand and other countries. These are the producers of the rice of fine taste that we've gotten used to over time. And then this brown rice that we still have, this ones that still have a little bit of, we still have to do much more.
Yeah.
So how do you now say we should go about research and then transfer of knowledge?
I marvel when people say we don't, we need to get some technology. As far as agribusiness or agriculture is concerned, we have almost all the technology. We have the, we have the experts that can use the technology, that have the technology. When it comes to rice production, it's not rocket science. We have the institutions in Nigeria that have the knowledge. The main question all the time is the government and the private sector leveraging on the resource, human resource available here? No, we just go to Thailand, India, copy, and want to paste. And let me use this example. You know, the nose mask. We were all importing, they were selling the old pack in a box. But when we began to produce in Nigeria, they started producing in the box also. However, they just found out that it needs to be adapted. Nigerians are entrepreneurial, they want to sell. Everybody cannot afford the big box. So they began to put it in nylons. So you have like 4 packs in a big box. And that is selling more. So when we want to adopt all these technologies, it needs to be adapted here. The nose mask people have gotten it right. Can we bring it to agribusiness? But
so
we have the
how does
researchers.
this feel conversation with government? This is the year 2021. We don't have time to play catch up. We don't have time to mince words, and we don't have time for government to play lip service to what is expected. What sort of conversation do you expect rice processors and other players within the value chain to bring forth, to force the hand of government, to force conversation so that we can have yields like you make mention of?
You see, the associations need to have a business mindset. They don't have a business mindset, I'm sorry to say. They want to get from government. They want to get interventions from government instead of seeing government as a business partner. And to say to government, don't give us the money. If the association is bold enough to say, we don't want your money, then they begin, government begins to see them serious. But when you depend on government for money, it won't work. The models, they know the models that will work. But because of the handouts from government, it will not work. So they need to begin to tell government, okay, keep your money. That's the first thing. When you keep your money, just give us good roads. Give us electricity in these areas, or connect these millers to solar power, to storage facilities. Give us facilities. We don't want your money. But when you want to get money from government, you will compromise.
And we cannot have any room for compromise at this point.
We don't have that time.
We have to be transparent. We have to put our best foot forward, and we also have to ensure that the average Nigerian receives quality for their money. Thank you very much for your time on The Breakfast Show today. African Farmer Mogaji, it's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you for having me again.